In the small town streets, the air was still where dreams were shattered, with an intention to kill a girl named Kate, just 14 years old. Her story goes untold, forever frozen in the cold. Down the narrow lane where innocence once played, a young life taken in a moment's sway. For an unknown reason, a life was stolen away, leaving sorrow and questions in the wake of that day. In the shadows she fades away, lost in the whispers of a dark and cruel place.
14-year-old Kate Bushell was killed while walking a dog near her home in Devon. The story made front-page news. 3 suspicious figures were reported: a vagrant, a van driver, and a man seen running from the area. The next 10 minutes could be crucial to the inquiry. Unless a viewer can help now, the killer might not be caught until he strikes again.
What do you remember?
That a 14-year-old girl had been murdered walking her neighbour's dog, and it was probably going to work at the hospital then at 4:30, not even realising that someone round the corner has been killed.
So could Kate have been the original target of the killer? I think stereotypically Kate fits a description of what society perceives as a innocent victim of a killer of this nature. She was young, she was bright, she's pretty, she's extroverted, she's helpful and kind and confident according to her family and her friends. So I think from that perspective she would be very fitting as a person of interest for a killer, perhaps. I think the presence of the orange fibres both at the crime scene on Kate's body and in the nearby area found on a fence would indicate that Kate knew her killer, perhaps, or had an idea of who he or she might have been. It could indicate that perhaps he or she lured her away from the road and into the field, or that she was trusting in her nature and sort of followed someone into the field, and that led to her murder.
Hi, I'm going to be talking about the case of Kate Bushell, who was brutally murdered in 1997, and the killer is still in large. She lived in Barossa Drive, and that is in Exwick, and she always used to walk her neighbour's dog down Exwick Lane. She went to St Thomas High School, but is now called West Ex. She had an older brother called Tim, and he was 15, she was 14. She was intelligent, popular, liked arts and crafts, and very sporty. She was a popular girl who people liked, and she was all around a good person. She was preparing for 10 tours at the time. She wanted to go to Oxford University, and that was her go-to university, but then it's really, really hard to get into there. She played the saxophone, clarinet and piano. She also was very involved in the local church.
Did you know about the case at the time?
No, it wasn't until obviously it came out on the news.
Morning of the murder, she went in town with her mum and the Ecstasy Centre, and she went there and bought a comic and a CD for herself and a comic for her brother, as is his birthday coming up. And yeah, she went to the library to do some homework with her mum, and then she went back home. And later that day, she was doing homework until 4:30 in her room. Well, then she went over to get her neighbour's dog, Gemma, and she walked a 13-minute walk, about 20 minutes, she said, and that's 0.5 miles.
Exwick Lane is very well known within the local community. It's an area that offers many points of seclusion, but was also quite a frequently trafficked area with lots of dog walkers, pedestrians. There's a road going through it, and lots of people of many ages would have found their sort of secluded areas and used them for different purposes. I think at the time it was mid-November, so a lot of the area would have been fairly dark. there wasn't that many street lamps, and therefore it might have been quite late in the evening for Kate to be taking Gemma the dog for a walk by herself, although it is an area that is well known to her, equally well known to others, perhaps including her killer.
This is Bertha Drive. This is where Kate grew up and lived. And now walking down Bertha Drive into Gloucestershire Road. Gloucestershire Road is the linking between Bertha Drive and Exwick Lane towards the primary school. The primary school used to be a guide dog centre. It used to be called Guide Dogs for the Blind, and it was up until the early 2000s before the school was moved from an old location to here. In 2008. Now we're walking up to the school. This is the school. It was built in 2008 and they have since added on buildings in the back into the fields. It is the beginning of Exwick Lane. There's no vehicles allowed going through there, but they used to be in the 90s, but you can't anymore. The reason why I wanted to do this is because I wanted to see how Kate felt during this walk, how normal it was, because it was a normal day of just walking, doing the same walk she did over and over again, and just something went wrong. And it's like non-rural lane. It's kind of the woods. So now walking up to another entrance of the school, the side entrance. Before, the one we showed before was the main entrance. It's the side entrance to the school, I think, where they bring vehicles into there. This is walking through more deeper into Exwick Lane. As you can see, it's getting more woodsy and secret. I can just imagine how she felt walking down here and how secluded it is. And so we're walking up, down, deeper into the lane. Long lane, it goes across end of Exwick. So it starts near the school and I think it ends across the whole of Exwick. So it's a long, we walk past some people. Coming up is the gate that I can get up to. I think the actual gate that she used was more up in across the lane, but though I didn't have time to walk and find it, though I wish I did. So this is the gate where it leads up to the field where she was. We don't know if she was murdered in the field or her body was put in the field. So yeah, that's down there, I think, the gate. This is going into the field. The field is a huge open field and you can see houses and how it's very noticeable if you saw people or saw things around. I was walking up to show down there is where I think it happened. Okay, what was your experience?
Well, it was quite scary really, because obviously only living around the corner, and I used to come home at 8 o'clock at night, and it was a bit scary, but
At 4:45 there was a sighting of her, but at 4:50 was the last sighting of her alive. A mother and daughter had driven down Exwick Lane and saw him passing, but they also at the end of the lane saw a man suspiciously going through his car. They thought it was either a hatchback, it was a dark blue hatchback or Astra. It was on the opposite side of the road to Kate, but near her, and the man was looking through his view. It was not unusual as people park there next to stables. And there was a young couple and saw a blue vehicle without the driver and Kate and Gemma, the dog. The driver was described as a white male aged around 30 to 40 with an average build, height, and clean shaven with deep brown hair, and he was wearing jeans. Around 5:10 to 5:40, a man was seen running down the hill where Kate was last seen. They believe they saw blood on his shirt. He was running so fast that he was slipping into the mud. At 5 o'clock, her parents started to get worried. They called her friends thinking that she might be in one of those houses, and the first person they called was Nikki John, her best friend. They were met when she was 9 years old, and they've been best friends ever since. She had not seen Kate that day from the day before, from Friday, school day, and her parents started to search for her, and so did Nikki and her dad. They searched Exwick Lane at 9 and 7 o'clock, the police were called. Now her dad was searching on foot, her mum stayed home just in case she wanted to show up. Her dad went through the gate, but it was sighted that a small dog had been going around there. Then went into a field and found Kate's body. He went after the sighting, he ran back home and started screaming. And then he told Kate's mother, and Kate was lying down on her back, blood all over her, her throat was cut, and her jogging bottoms were pulled down to her knees. He used Mabel's phone to call the police. The autopsy said that she was indeed cut to the throat and there was no sexual assault towards her.
Could it have been avoided? I think Kate is an example of someone who was in the wrong place at the wrong time and is an innocent victim. I think her personality would lead us to believe that Kate was just a young girl, a 14-year-old girl who was living her normal life. That day she was shopping with her mum, she was just walking the dog, her neighbour's dog at the time, and that is just sort of her normal behaviour. There was nothing out of the ordinary or unusual about what she was doing. It was very much a daily routine. So I'm not sure it could have been avoided because Kate wasn't doing anything differently and was just a 14-year-old living her life. Did it happen because of the location? Was it opportunity for the killer? Was it random? Was it planned out? I think there's a high chance that this is a spur of the moment attack and that Kate was in the wrong place at the worst time. Kate was well liked within her community. She had many friends at school, and it would be difficult to believe that someone like that would create an enemy that would harm her in this way. However, I think there's an element of this crime that is premeditated. I think we have to question why someone would take a knife out with them when they leave their home, why they would carry it around, and it's a fairly sizable knife. So what is the intention of that, if not to cause someone harm or if not to cause someone murder? So I think the attack on Kate was spontaneous and random, and she perhaps wasn't targeted as such, but I think the person who did kill her set out to at least harm someone. Otherwise, why would they carry a knife in the first place? Did the killer know Kate? I think because of the area, Exwick is a very close-knit community. And I think that was observed when Kate was missing and the search party was travelling through Exwick trying to find her. So if the killer did reside within Exwick, I believe that Kate would have known them, but that is not to say that someone from outside of the area could have come in, and it could have just been that Kate was an opportunity that they couldn't pass up.
What do you think you could have done?
What, to help the girl? If I had heard her scream, I probably would have gone up to the lane or called 999.
Okay, do you think that you could have changed anything?
No, not really. I don't know what I could have changed. I think she was at the wrong place at the wrong time, unfortunately for her.
I think the suspect could have been in military or working the field. The police did a house interview to 5,000 homes around the area. They took some samples and fingerprints as they thought it was local, and the police think that they had planned a murder but not planned it to Kate as she was there by work. They found an orange 5OK. Steve Plummer, a witness, said he saw a silver Audi, and later it was revealed that he had lied and he was sent to prison for 18 months for about 1.5 years, as he talked about his own car, and he got into prison for wasting police's time. Kate's funeral was held on July 10th, 1998. More than 800 people attended. There were other two cases linked to this one, but they think there's a serial killer, but I'm more focusing on this case.
Walking down that small lane, her heart filled with hope. With Gemma by her side, they took their daily stroll. But darkness lurked in the shadows, waiting to unfold. In a field of nightmares where the story would be told.